Welcome to another edition of Whiskey, Games, and Nerd Stuff. Today's video, we're going to talk about the first 60 days that I've had with Marvel Champions, what games I played, how many I played, and some just general thoughts. First, let's take a sip of our Irish coffee. And I'd love to find out in the comment section if you put what you'd like to put in your Irish coffee when you want a little kick. And before I start, there is a lot of channels that talk about Marvel Champions on YouTube. And there's a lot that I watch. There's a lot that I've seen several videos on. So I wanted to go ahead and give some of them a shout out. There's in no particular order except for the first one, which is the Grouchy Nerd. And the reason I always shout out the Grouchy Nerd, and I don't know them, or him, sorry, was watching his videos is what finally got me to say, okay, I'm going to get Marvel Champions, I'm going to open the box, and I think I actually had the box for who knows how long, and play it. So I always like to give him a shout out. Great videos. The other ones, and if I do leave somebody out that you feel is a good content creator for Marvel Champions, please make a comment in the comment section. And any of the ones I'm going to mention, if you're not subscribed to them, please jump to their channel, give them a subscription. They all have good content. There's good conversations over there. I do not know any of them personally, and of course, I'd like you to subscribe to mine as well. So, in no particular order after the Grouchy Nerd, there's D20 Woodworking, Villain Theory, Dell the Casual Gamer, Nelson All Over Cards, Web Warrior Fanatic, and Solo Marvel Champion. And again, if I've missed somebody who you feel is a good Marvel Champion content creator and that you would love to give a shout out to, feel free to make a comment in the comment section. And if any of these content creators that I happen to mention come across this, feel free to shout out to the viewers as well. I definitely would highly recommend your channel. So my initial apprehension of getting into Marvel Champions was I knew I was going to like it. I was pretty positive I was going to like the game. It was once I opened that first box, me being me, would I need to go out there and buy everything? And that's what kept me away from it. I've already dumped in who knows how much into Magic the Gathering, Flesh and Blood, and a variety of other card games. You know, your traditional trading card games. But where this is a living card game, you know, it's a little bit different, but there's a lot of product out there, especially if this is, you know, if something like this that's been out for a while. So, again, my apprehension was to start this was I knew it was going to happen. And not only did I knew it was going to happen, I knew I was going to have to bling it up. So, let's go ahead and get into this. So, the first thing I'm going to do was I played Spider-Man. Now, what I had to do with Spider-Man was, of course, I had to get the Players Club. And you don't need to get this stuff, by the way. This is just what I did. Is I, went and got Spider-Man. Went and got a red deck holder for it. Went and got the sleeves for it. Because I thought it was cool. And then, of course, I went and got the holders for the villains, these placeholders where you can put the schemes. So the first game that I got the opportunity to play was Rhino, and I just started with Rhino just as the instructions say to do it, and then the Spider-Man is the starter deck. What's cool about this is when you play, the starter deck is the pre-made. It's a pre-made core deck. So with Spider-Man, when I first started from the very first game, on the standard mode, I ended up being 15-5, which wasn't too bad. I think I lost the first 5 games, partly because I had no clue what I was doing, and for some reason, I kept giving him more health. I was giving him 21 health instead of starting 14 because I wasn't reading the card. There was also some stuff that I knew I was doing wrong, but I really enjoyed it, and I also had to remember I would always forget this part of Spider-Man where his ability is Spider Sense. It's an interrupt. When the villain initiates an attack card against you, draw 1 card. I would always forget to draw that 1 card, and that's a big deal in this game. The other thing that I would forget to do, because at first I was thinking, once per round meant once per round of the game. When I realized it should have been, if it was that, it would have said once per game, is he can generate this resource. So the initial was Spider-Man v. Rhino, again, was 15-5. And this is all within the first 60 days. We'll call it 61 days. Let's go ahead and take another sip of coffee. When I moved up to expert mode, and for those that aren't familiar with the game, the difference in expert mode for Rhino is instead of starting in stage 1, you start at stage 2. And then you have to defeat him on stage 2 and then stage 3. So on Rhino Expert with Spider-Man, I was able to go 17-3. So I thought that was pretty good. 17-3 wasn't too bad. And again, I know I'm playing incorrectly in a lot of cases, but that's where we ended up with Rhino. So now let's go on to Claw. Now I've only played Rhino and Claw so far, and I have not played Claw and Expert, and I have not played Ultron yet. So right now with Spider-Man v. Claw, I am at 16-4, which isn't too bad. I know I initially did a couple things wrong. I know there's going to be much more of a challenge, and I really enjoy this matchup between Spider-Man and Claw. And again, this is the standard decks. This is the core deck. This is what it came with. I haven't done anything different yet because I felt that I needed to get a good number of games in for each module, each component, the basics, before I start mixing and matching. And that's one of those great things about Marvel Champions is, once you get in a good plethora of games in, there's so much adaptability where you could interchange heroes, villains, and modules. And even with these games I played, because if you think about it, right now that's just 60 games, just with Spider-Man only fighting 2 villains, and every game is different. I have not got bored of this yet. In fact, my initial thought was I wanted to do 100 games before I moved on to anybody else, but I didn't have the patience to do that. So let's go ahead and put Spider-Man back in his case. And you can see where, every hero's got their own. So then the next hero I went with is Captain Marvel. Now, I will say off the bat, Captain Marvel is not my favorite character. And it was not my funnest or most enjoyable to play, but I do see some benefits to playing Captain Marvel. I have a hard time getting into the character. That's just me. So with the standard, I was able to go 14-9 against Rhino, and then with Expert, I was able to go 17-5. And then when I went on to Claw, now I have to say this, I enjoyed playing Captain Marvel versus Claw more than I enjoyed playing Captain Marvel versus Rhino. Spider-Man, I really enjoyed both. So with Claw, and again, this is just a standard Claw, I've gone 16-5. So right there, you can tell I've got, 20, 40, 60, almost 120 games just right there between those. And I can say I really do enjoy Spider-Man much more than I like Captain Marvel, but and that is not because of my bias against the character itself. I just enjoyed playing Spider-Man more, and it's a character that I enjoy a lot. Now, here was one that actually surprised me. Iron Man. So, Iron Man is definitely a much more thinkier hero. If I want to relax and just kind of have what I'm going to call the mindless fun with these three so far, I'm going to go Spider-Man. It's nice, easy. It almost kind of plays itself. Iron Man, if I want to challenge and think and have fun that way, Iron Man was really cool. I was really enjoying it. At first, I didn't like it because I lost the first couple of games, but then I really got into it, had a lot of fun with it, especially once I realized that this was something I could do every time it was my turn, every new round, not just the once a game. So with Iron Man versus Rhino, on the standard, I went 8-2. When I switched up to the expert mode, I went 14-3. Now, when I've gone to Claw, now I've only played 2 games against Claw with Iron Man. What was cool, though, I did win those 2 games, but I barely, and I mean barely, squeaked by. This is it was such a fun thinking, figuring out that puzzle, and I have a feeling that I ultimately will lose a lot more games with Iron Man than I will lose with any other character against Klaw, and I'm curious to see what the expert mode's going to be with. Now, I have not played She-Hulk yet or Black Panther. I am going to play those, and I'm going to kind of do my roll of 20, where I'm going to try and do at least 20 games with each character. And then what I want to do, and this is where, for those that are still watching the video, would love to hear some ideas or what you think of some content ideas, is I thought it would be cool to kind of do a video where you start with Spider-Man, you have Spider-Man beat Rhino on standard, expert, then go to Klaw, and then go to Ultron. But if I lose any of those games, I stop. So it'll be, can Spider-Man run the gauntlet, and then film each one, each of that until I get defeated. And then do the same with Captain Marvel, then Iron Man, then She-Hulk, and Black Panther, to see if I can run the gauntlet of defeating the core villains, Rhino, Klaw, and Ultron, in one sitting without getting beat. I thought that would be fun. I've only played one game multi-handed, and it was different. I think right now I enjoy this more solo than the multi-handed. I have not played this game with multiple players. I am looking forward to the opportunity to do that. But right now, I'm enjoying these solo games, and especially with, at the time of this filming, it's the kickoff season for football. This is a game, Marvel Champions is a game that I can sit at the table, play it, enjoy my beverages, and watch the game, and I bet you I could play this game the entire time games are on. This is not a game that you can't play with things going on. I really enjoy it, and I know I can knock out a game in a reasonable amount of time. But I would love to hear what your thoughts are on Marvel Champions. For those that have just started out, I would say go and watch the various content creators that I mentioned. Go and watch their how-to-play videos. In particular, go to any hero-specific ones. And don't worry about playing perfect. There's a lot of things that I did wrong, but this is one of those games where, from watching the videos, there is that learning curve. I wouldn't say memorize the rule book, but just kind of read through the basics. But if you watch any of those content creators, you're going to learn how to pick this up. And I would say, and this all depends on your financial position and where you're at in life, is just stick with the core box. You can get a lot of value out of this core box. I mean, if you think about it, I've played over, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140. I'm pushing 160 games almost so far in 2 months. Think of that value that I got out of that. And then you can go and buy those little add-ons where you can get the placeholders. You can get the sleeves, the Gamegenic sleeves. There's a really cool art sleeves out there. There's a lot of heroes out there. There's a lot of villains you can get. And I'll be doing some videos of those as I open them. And, there's a lot of cool storage options in there. But this is a great game. It's definitely within my top 5 of all-time games. And one of these days, I will get through a top 10, top 20 games videos. One of the biggest questions I get asked is, what is my favorite whiskey? Which is like asking who your favorite child is. And then the other question is, what's your favorite game? And a lot of that depends on kind of where you're at in life and who you're with and what you're doing. My favorite game, it depends on, am I playing solo or am I playing with other people? It's also the setting, where you're at. So that really varies from day to day. But this is definitely a fantastic game. It's from Fantasy Flights. It is 1 to 4 players. Definitely highly recommend it. Please check out those other content creators if you get a chance. And once again, that's the Grouchy Nerd, D20 Woodworking, Villain Theory, Dell the Casual Gamer, Nelson All Over Cards, Web Warrior Fanatic, and Solo Marvel Champion. If I missed anybody, again, please say so in the comment section. I would love you to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. for this video, and then jump over and watch some of the other videos from the other content creators. Do appreciate everybody taking the time to watch this video. Please like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And until next time, folks, cheers.